Hello, my name is Jack Harappa, and this is my screencast for field-based activity number 4. My FBA for number 4 for this learning session is to examine the issue of school choice in relationship to competition for scarce resources such as funding. Before I begin, there's a few topics as fiercely debated in the world of education today. There are not that many, and school choice is probably one of the most talked about and heated debates in the realm of education. And this subject becomes particularly relevant in areas where public schools are not making the grade, as people say. But it's also been seen in districts where public schools are performing really well. But overall, no matter what side you're on, we all know parents want more opportunities and choices for their children. So today I kind of wanted to just take a closer look at school choice and kind of the pros and cons that make this issue one of the, one could say the hot button subjects across the country. My sources tell me basically in a nutshell what school choice is, and that's kind of wanted to summarize today before we get into what Mrs. Bodner's insights. And, basically in a nutshell, school choice kind of allows public education funds to follow students to the schools or kind of services that best fit their needs. And, whether that could be to a public school, a private school, charter school, homeschool, we see hybrid online learning, or any other learning environment a family chooses. Um, but also that comes with school choice is these things called school voucher and school voucher programs. I just kind of wanted to explain that. One of my sources, talked about school voucher programs and how they work on the idea that parents should be able to choose the best school for their children, rather than the state or the local school district. These programs kind of take the tax dollars that would normally pay for the public education system and give them directly to parents to pay for their children's education as they see fit. Parents can take the funding and use it for a private school tuition if they prefer to do that as well. And also the amount of funding parents received is based on what the school typically gets for each student each school year. Um, so that's kind of what that's just the overview of everything. I wanted to get into what Mrs. Bonner had some insights. She really talked about the pros and the cons of school choice, and she really related to the side of the pros of school choice. Typically, she has two kids also in the school system, and she was talking about she teaches at Toronto High School, and we have open enrollment here, so we do see kids from other school districts coming here. She said, like, one of the insights she's provided is a lot of them come to the school for sport reasons, or maybe because they actually live closer than the district that they are in. There's a small town near it's called Stratton, Ohio. It's really close to Toronto, in proximity to the other school district that the town belongs in. And a lot of students do choose to come to Toronto just because it's easier, or some of them are interested in some of our facilities for sports, such as baseball. So there's many reasons why students choose to go to a particular school, and she kind of highlighted some pros in terms of school choice. One of the things she talked about was it kind of encourages competition. School choice kind of encourages competition amongst the area schools. So, basically, if a school perceives that another school in that nearby area is doing better than the other schools, then basically they would of course try to make themselves even better by raising their standards of education. Mrs. Bodner talked about recently in our area, there has been a lot of updates to athletic facilities, and recently a lot of schools have been moving to turf for their baseball or football or their softball fields, and updating, maybe getting brand new schools. We've had lots of school districts in the process of building brand new schools, such as Indian Creek, Toronto, um, and others that are kind of competing with each other to have the best fit when they are all open enrollment schools. So that's kind of one thing. It definitely encouraged that competition aspect, she said. Another thing she said was basically the education system enhancement. Um, you know, if a school system or a school district is, experiencing a downside, students can explore other opportunities. Um, you know, she even said she researched that voucher programs can kind of increase student graduation rates that she saw as her process at Toronto. Um, Another pro that she mentioned was it gives power to choose the best. You know, for that specific family. Sometimes she said, all the children are not the same, and each student has their own sets of needs and requirements. So sometimes parents need to decide what's best for their children, and it gives them the best opportunity, and school choice gives them the best opportunity to do that. She did mention kind of some cons. She did say it kind of gets a little not messy, but the difference between church and state, she realizes sometimes can be a problem for many people. This could be one of the biggest disadvantages of school choice, and it's a big concern. Separation of the church and the state may also kind of give rise to various social and religious conflicts as well. So that's definitely one of the cons she did kind of realize as her time as a teacher. Um, you know, she did mention another thing with school vouchers, that they can take money away from the public school system, but, um, she kind of said vouchers don't benefit all the students, but they can be really beneficial to some that need them. And then the third part of this screencast is really my goals. So, my first goal that I wanted to kind of tackle in relation to school choice is to kind of gain more knowledge on school choice and school vouchers. And I feel like I always kind of knew a little bit, and this kind of learning session has been really helpful for me. But I'd love to dive in and do some research on some statistics to kind of gain more knowledge on the subject. My second goal would be, really have discussions with those affected by school choice or even open enrollment to kind of hear about their experiences and their perspective of maybe why they don't go to a school in their school district. What's their reasoning? Maybe why do they use a school voucher? Why? Um, did they choose to go to a school district that is not nearby? There could be multiple reasons. I'd love to hear a family's perspective on the idea of school choice. And then my third goal would kind of be, research more on how hybrid and online learning are impacting the school choice discussion. In relation to COVID, we've seen a massive increase in online learning and even hybrid learning across the country. So I really would love to research more on how that's impacting the school choice discussion. My sources today were from edchoice.org, thenextfine.com, and thepublicschoolreview.com, the title saying The Ongoing Debate Over School Choice. Thank you so much.